Today's episode of Reset to Reinvent podcast is brought to you by the Adams Group Agency, developing final expense leaders.
How is your mental health? Have you ever asked yourself that question before? The month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and that's a question I think is valid, not just in the month of May, but on any given day. How is your mental health? Interesting question, isn't it? Oh, yes, it is May Mental Health Awareness Month, and I want to say hello, and welcome to Reset to Reinvent podcast. I am your host, Helen Blocker Adams. So happy that you have joined me today as we dive into week 3 of Mental Health Awareness Month. I do hope that you have had a chance to listen to the first 2 episodes, the month of May, as we talk and dig and deep dive on this subject called mental health. And today, what I want to do, I want to go right into it, guys, because there's so much information that I want to be able to share. And I want to talk about some of the triggers that affect one's mental health, some of the triggers. And a trigger is something that prods, it pricks, it sticks you, it makes you aware, it gets your attention. That trigger, it does something, and it's like, oh. I also want to share with you some websites and some other resources that you can tap into that can be helpful. And before I go any further, and I've said this in the first 2 episodes, is that my disclaimer is that, guys, I am not family. I am not a mental health professional, a health professional. I have no experience at all in the healthcare arena. I admire people who are in that area, that industry, because certainly you have to be a certain kind of person to be able to care for people. Now, I do care about people, or else I wouldn't be doing this. I care about you and you and you and you over there. Okay, I do, but I couldn't be a healthcare professional. Okay, because when other people hurt, I feel like I'm hurting too. But so when I share this information isn't me as a mental health professional so that you can do this, and not get the proper care. No. This is to bring awareness, to make you aware of some things, to make you, maybe you don't have the mental health concern, but there might be someone around you. I want you to be able to have this information that will allow you to be aware, so that when you're around people or family and you see things that happen, it's like, I wonder if there's something going on. Okay, to make you more aware. The more we're aware of things, the more we can be able to help ourselves and help somebody else. Can you agree? I totally agree. Yes. So I do want to let you know that I'm a mental health advocate. That's what I am. And if you missed last week's week 2 episode of this series dealing with mental health, oh my goodness, you got to go back and listen. You've got to go back and listen to it, because I went into detail about how I even got into the interest of the mental health space. And that's all I've got to say. If you missed it, you got to go back and listen to it. Okay. All righty. So what I want to do to start out today's show, I want to talk about the top 5 reasons why many people, too many people, I don't know how many, but a whole lot of people seek not to seek mental health help. 5 reasons, 5 of the top reasons why a lot of people, too many people, choose not to seek mental health help. Let's talk about those 5 reasons. Okay. You may be familiar with these, and check this out. The first one is shame, the feeling of shame, the feeling of unworthiness, the feeling of, they deserve rejection, the feeling of being flawed. We've made mistakes. Oh my goodness, that feeling of shame That is the top reason, based on the research that I saw and read and found. Shame is the number one reason why people do not seek mental health help. And when you think about shame, shame is an emotion that leads us to feel unworthy, unloved, flawed. We deserve rejection. Okay. But from a biblical perspective, our adversary, Satan, uses shame to isolate people and keep them from reaching out. Fear of rejection is real. Fear of rejection often keeps people from opening up to others, which means they will not and choose not to seek the help that they need. Shame. But you know what? God knows how powerful it is for us to share our struggles with another trusted person. It's when you make yourself vulnerable, and because we as humans, we like to make it seem like, yeah, everything's good, I'm good. Yeah, when things may not be good. We wear masks, and the mask, it reveals something completely different on the outside, but on the inside we can be dying and falling apart. But remove that mask. Okay, just take that mask off, because guess what? Here's what you're going to find. And this is what many professionals will let you know once you do go and talk with them. Or if you talk with someone else, a friend that you trust, about things that's going on, you're going to find out, oh my goodness, I didn't know you went through that. Or I didn't know such and such went through that. You're going to find that you are not alone. You're going to find out that you are not alone. So shame, Satan and shame want people to struggle in isolation, internal turmoil, and hiding. Okay? Satan is the devil. Hiding, being shameful, feeling like, oh, people are going to look at me different. They're going to be judgmental. And that's why I mentioned, I think in last week's episode, I said, no, we can't be judgmental. Think about, walk in my shoes, walk in someone else's shoes, and you'll find out, oh my goodness, that's what he or she is feeling. That's what this is about. Yeah, so many times we're so quick to judge. Oh, stop it. Golly. But shame is the number one reason why a lot of people choose not to seek mental health help. And that's a problem. Okay. The second reason people tend to not seek mental health help is myths about mental health and counseling. Oh, I know you guys have heard some of these before, especially us church folks. Church folks. Oh man, you must have done something wrong. Oh, you must have done something wrong. You must have done something against God, and that's why, God is punishing you. Mm-hmm. Have you heard that before? Oh yeah. I know you're nodding. I see you nodding. Okay. Or myths that only crazy people go to counseling. You must be crazy. No, 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 no. Mm-mm. Or just go to church, and this is another church folks statement. In general, okay? I'm not saying you, but in general, y'all have heard it before. Oh yeah. See, that's what happened when you don't go to the Sunday school on Sundays. That's why you're having those problems. That's why you're crazy. Oh no, stop it. Myths about mental health and counseling. Those are some of the reasons that people hold back. People hold back from seeking mental health, or only people who are spiritually weak. They're the only ones who struggle with mental health challenges. Or your problems, have to be real severe in order for you to seek counseling. Not necessarily. There might be something minor that can lead to something big and severe, but these are some of the myths about mental health and counseling. So, here's another one. Oh, I can fix this on my own. I'm good. When I think about the insurance industry, and I am in the insurance industry, okay, and sit down and talk with the family, husband, wife, and they requested information about life insurance, and sitting down and talk with them and finding out what their needs are, and then come to find out, the usually it's the male that was like, I'm good. I've got enough coverage. I'm good. But they can't share with us their life insurance policy, okay? Or don't want to, or refuse to, okay? I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Well, maybe not. We may not be good. Then you got the wife sitting over there looking at you and looking at him like, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. But one of the second reason why a lot of people do not seek mental health help is because they believe they can fix it on their own. Okay, I can fix it. I can take care of it. It's no big deal. But what this does is just increases and enhances the reasons why we don't want to reach out. The reality is that all of us can benefit for some help, with some help every now and then, okay, at some point in their lives, whether it's seeking a counselor or some trusted advisor, okay. Many people come to counseling believing that they're the only person who is struggling with that particular issue. And to their surprise, they sit down with that counselor, and the counselor will let them know that, I treat hundreds of people who have thought something similar. Wow. I remember years ago, I had a miscarriage, and it was my first and only time that I had gotten pregnant. And I remember how excited I was, how happy I was. The family was just elated, that me, the oldest of four, finally, going to have a baby. I was married, and, we were both, happy about having a child. And 6 weeks later, sitting in the doctor's office. Now, prior to that, oh my goodness, I've got books and tried to do everything that I was told to do. The doctor said to do this, and I did that, and don't do this. And trying to do, I'm a very good patient. When it comes to doing what the doctor says, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Absolutely. Yeah. And so 6-week checkup, sit down with the doctor's office. I remember this like it was yesterday. This was, this was, golly, over 35 years ago. Wow. And I remember sitting in there, and the doctor, at first, he was in good spirits, and we were talking. He was asking how I was doing, and he was checking me out. And then he got quiet. And then he said, well, let's do another test. Let's do this, and let's do this, and let me check this. And he got quieter and quieter. His whole demeanor changed. And obviously, I knew something was wrong. And got dressed, sat in his office, and he looked at me and he says, well, I know you must know that something is wrong. And I said, yes, doctor. You went from happy-go-lucky, telling jokes and making me feel great, to complete silence. And he told me that his exact words, he says, well, Miss Adams, there has been no fetal growth since the last time that you were here. And I'm like, okay, all right. How about fix it? And he looked at me, says, you don't understand what I'm saying here. There's nothing that we can do. He says, you've had a miscarriage. And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, but I've done everything right, everything you asked me to do. He says, women, and this goes into, what I was talking about, number 2, where, you might think that you're the only one that's experiencing whatever it is, whatever situation. There's somebody else. There's someone else that has a similar story. There's someone else that's being challenged by the same things. And he told me, he said, women have miscarriages every day for no apparent reason, not anything that you did. You don't have to beat yourself up or think that you did something wrong. It just happens. And I sat there and the tears fell, and it was just devastating. Okay. Several days later, talking with family members, mom and aunts and so forth, come to find out that just about every woman figure in my life had a miscarriage. Some of them multiple miscarriages, but I never knew it. I never knew it until that point. And so anytime you can get in a situation where someone can let you know, girlfriend, you are not alone, it does help to minimize the pain and the feeling of, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? And so that was a life-changing moment for me. Now, granted, I was still devastated, but I was just shocked that so many of my family members have had similar challenges, had miscarriages, and many of them more than one, and went on to have multiple children. Now, I wasn't able to go on and have children, but yeah, that's going to happen sometimes. Something's going to happen, and you're going to feel like you're all alone, and you're not alone. I'm letting you know you're not alone. And I got through it, and now, no, I'm not a mom. We just celebrated Mother's Day, last week. But I tell you what, I am a mother to a whole lot of people, nieces and nephews, and great nieces and great nephews, and other people who are not even blood relatives. That they're like, I'm like their mama bear. They're not. Well, I'm not Mama Bear. My mom is Mama Bear to my brother Daryl. Okay, but I'm like a mother hen. That's what it is, a mother hen. So here's another reason why people tend to not seek mental health help. Outdated information. Now, this is interesting. Check this out. Okay, so just like when we think about technology and medicine and information and understanding of mental health, it's growing at a rapid pace. There's just so many new, whether it's technology, whether it's information, new discoveries about how to fix this and how to help, and whether it's meds or how to cope and all those type of things, they come up all the time. Things are changing. And then some conditions, though, that were once considered untreatable years ago, unless it's say you're someone who has been challenged with mental health challenges for 10, 15, 20 years, and whatever the doctor said to you years ago may not even apply today. Okay, options available for seeking treatment are more and more readily available. Mental health professionals regularly talk to people who were told something by a counselor, 20 years ago that about their condition that was true at the time. But now, we've got new ideas. We've got new ways to be able to help resolve. So sometimes the outdated information, we've got to get our mindset out of what we were told 10 years ago. Well, the doctor said this 10 years ago, so it is what it is. No, it's not just it is what it is. Stop saying that. Go and talk with someone in the 20th century, 2025, and they may have some resolutions for you. Okay, so don't get stuck on outdated information. Oh my goodness, we are bringing awareness, guys, to mental health, mental health and wellness. It's such an elusive thing when you think about mental, because it's in your head. I've said this before, but I just can't reiterate the fact that we're talking about the head, what's on the inside. You can't see it. Okay, you can't see it. People can't see it. So there has to be ways for us to be able to see someone or see ourselves with having mental health challenges or concerns in a different way. And that's what all of this information is about on this week 3 and week 2 and week 1, as we bring awareness to mental health. So the last reason that many people do not seek mental health help is waiting too long. They waited too long. Going back to being in the insurance industry, when you look at, if you have a husband and wife, they're both the same age, same height, same age, and you look at and they qualify for the same insurance policy, you're going to find that the male, their premiums are going to be higher every time. Even if all things were equal, all things are not equal, because statistically, men tend to not seek help soon enough. Oh, I'm good. And they're dying on the inside and don't even realize it. And then by the time it gets to a point where it's just unbearable, it's too late. It's too late. And so as a result, the statistics will show that. And if you think about it, go to any church, especially an older church that's been around for a while, and look at the demographics. You're going to find more women than men. Okay. So the 5th reason why a lot of people do not seek mental health help is they're waiting too long. Oftentimes when we wait too long for help, the problem becomes more than a person can bear. Sense of desperation takes over. One's faith has been challenged and stretched. At this point, after waiting too long, they have a tendency to want to give up. All right. So I don't want you to get to that place. All right. So those are 5 reasons, 5 of the top reasons. I'm sure there are many others, but there's just so much information that we can share. And there's really not enough airtime to share all of the information and some of the resources that I'm getting ready to share with you in a moment. Some of the website resources, there's so many of them out there. Some are more, I say, reliable. I remember being told by a doctor upon my diagnosis of triple negative breast cancer back in 2021. I remember the doctor saying, don't go and Google such and such. Go to specific websites that will give you some real information from professionals that's in that particular industry, that arena, so that you don't freak out when you start reading a whole bunch of stuff that's out there. Okay. So I'll have to say the same with the mental health piece. So here are some websites, some mental health resources. Now you heard me earlier talk about NAMI. That's the National Alliance of Mental Illness, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. This is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization. There's probably a local chapter in your area. Tons of information on that website. Oh my goodness, tons of information, resources, just access to so much information as it relates to mental health and mental wellness. I that would be my number one go-to. If I were you. Now, here's another one in terms of mental health resources is BetterHelp.com. BetterHelp.com. And what this website, now I've never used it before, but just based on my research, what it does is matches you to 20,000 licensed therapists based upon your location, your preferences, and therapist availability. So if there's someone that you'd want to talk to, whether in person or online, you can go to betterhelp.com. I have heard some good things about that particular website. Once again, I'm sharing information for you. I am not a mental health professional by any means. Here's another one. The National Institute of Mental Health is part of the National Institute of Health. Tons of information on this website. And of course, that's a government sanctioned website. So naturally, all of the stats and the information and the resources, and even some of the stats that I shared with you earlier, they came from that resource, the National Institute of Mental Health. If you look it up, just Google National Institute of Mental Health, and you'll find that it's a part of the National Institute of Health. And anytime you can get more information and be more aware, that's a good thing, guys. That is a good thing, so that we can help our neighbor, help our friend, help our family member, help ourselves. World Health Organization. This website offers insight and articles on mental health, including fact sheets on every aspect of mental health. Everything from bipolar disorders to severe depression, to schizophrenia, to depression, to anxiety. So they've got fact sheets that might be very helpful for you to share with someone and to read for yourself so that you can help somebody. Here's another website, National Council for Mental Well-Being. The National Council for Mental Well-Being. And what this organization does is they train millions of people across the country. You may be one of those individuals that might say, you know what, wow, I think I want to dive into this area of mental health as a career, part-time, maybe you could take a course or two or go to some resources so that you can be a help for someone in your community. You just never know. And there's one more, the best online counseling services of 2025. These are top online counseling services. So check those out. Okay. Now, there are so many more. That was just a handful, guys. There are many, many, many more, but I think those will be a good start. Okay. All right. Let's talk for a few minutes. About some common triggers that impact one's mental health. Common triggers. But remember, before I move on, I want to remind you that mental health refers to an individual's overall emotional, psychological, and social well-being. So that applies to all of us, not just someone who's crazy. All of us. We have emotional, psychological, and social well-being. That's all of us, you and me, everybody. Everybody. And all of us can have a trigger that takes us off our A game, takes us out of sync a little bit and makes us either say or do something that may be inappropriate and may take us someplace that we really had no intention of going. So when we talk about mental health, that's everybody. It has mental health. And that's why I wanted to bring up this definition again, because there's some of you out there listening and saying, yeah, it ain't me. I don't have no mental health. Yes, you do have mental health. It's your overall emotional, social well-being. It's a part of who you are. Yes, you do have mental health. Now, do you have mental health concerns? Maybe not. But maybe you do and didn't realize it until you listened to my show. I'm just saying. So here's some common triggers, family. Man, I hope you guys are getting something out of this. Man, I know I am. I'm just being the messenger as a mental health advocate during the month of May, Mental Health Awareness Month. Okay. Poor diet or lack of exercise. That's a trigger. Work and academic pressure. You got these high school grads that's graduating. They're getting ready to go off to college and they ain't seen nothing yet. Talk about pressure. Okay. That can bring anxiety. Okay. That's a trigger. Work and academic pressure. Social isolation and loneliness. We talked about that earlier. These are triggers to affecting one's mental health. Substance abuse. That goes without saying. Chronic illness and physical health conditions. There are people that they're in chronic pain. Now, if you don't think chronic pain can impact your mental health, man, please. I remember before I had 2 knee replacements. Yeah, I've had both knee replacements. The pain, the chronic pain is almost unbearable. You get to a point where you gotta do something. So chronic pain and physical health conditions can be a trigger to affecting one's mental well-being. Genetic and biological factors, trauma and abuse, stressful life events. I have some family members and friends who have just recently had deaths after deaths after deaths in their family, people close by. I mean, one right after the other. That affects one's mental well-being, guy. That's a trigger. Scrolling through social media and seeing something that stirs up old memories, maybe you have recent divorce or a bad breakup and you scrolling on Facebook and oh my goodness, you still friends with your ex and you see all of these lovey-dovey pictures of him with his new woman. And oh my goodness, that's going to be a trigger. Okay. All I can do is either keep scrolling or unfriend him, defriend him, whatever, because it might just stir old memories, which can trigger your mental well-being. Okay. I think somebody out there is saying, oh yeah, I've had that experience before, Helen. Feeling ignored. That's another trigger. Certain smells may be a trigger. Having an argument and or loud noises. All of these are potential triggers that can impact one's mental health. So think about those things. As we wrap up today's episode, week 3 of Reset to Reinvent podcast. I've got to leave you with the Helen's Life Nugget. This one I wrote in November 2014. Now, the year 2014 was a real dark time for me, guys. It was a dark time for me from really pretty much most of 2014, but definitely from May through most of the rest of that year. So I wrote this in November 2014. And the day you recognize that God is in control of all things, no matter what you hear, no matter what you read or see, or how you feel, you will discover the peace God speaks of in his word. Yes, it's hard to comprehend at times in the human mind. So what are you doing to take care of yourself and your family's health, mind, soul, and finances? Are you depending on man or woman, or are you depending on God? He wants you focused on him so he can rule over your life. He's waiting patiently. He's waiting patiently. Isn't that a beautiful thing? That's a Helen's life nugget that I want you to take and absorb and marinate on it as we wrap up week 3 of Mental Health Awareness Month in the month of May. I want to thank you so much for joining me on this day, on this episode. I believe this is episode 9, guys, of Reset to Reinvent podcast. I want you to subscribe. Please subscribe and download. Please share this episode with your friends. Also visit our website at resettoreinvent.com and go to our Reinvent store and check out our ebooks, some great ebooks, including a daily journal that I think you might, it's a daily journal / calendar that I think you might find very, 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 very good and useful, and includes some of my Helen's life nuggets all the way through with this very personalized daily journal. And I definitely would love for you to support this podcast as well. So scroll down in the footer so that you can see what our the link that says support our show, support our page. And when you click there, it will take you where you can either $3, $4, $5 a month and support this series of episodes of Reset to Reinvent. And I want to thank you in advance. I want to thank you in advance for joining me here. This has been absolutely amazing. We've got one more week coming up for our Mental Health Awareness Month. And I look forward to seeing you then. Have a wonderful day. You know what? This podcast is all about you because you deserve to be inspired. Peace.
Reset to Reinvent podcast. We are living in uncertain times. Job security is becoming more elusive. People are losing their jobs. Companies are closing. But wait, have you ever considered a career as an insurance agent? Just a thought. Our much talked about ebook, 8 Reasons to Become a Life Insurance Agent, can help you decide if it's for you or not. Order your copy today. Visit our website, Reset to Reinvent, and click on the Reinvent store. Who knows? It may be the best decision you've made in a long time.